Ishapore infield. So first thing we're going to do, make sure the weapon is unloaded. Which it is. Alright. So, if you guys know how to take the bolt off a bolt action rifle, you're fine. But if you don't, there's a little lug here. Right there. Alright. What you're going to do, can't lift it up here. You have to bring it all the way back. There's a little notch right here. What you do, bring the bolt all the way back, lift up. Then slide right out. Alright. Place it over there, out of the way. Alright. Now, I would suggest, if you don't have a good memory or if you've never taken this rifle apart, each screw you take out, I would label them, because some of them look similar and you will forget. It'll take more time putting it back together. Alright. And some of these screws are stuck. You know, they're really nice and tight up in there. So if yours doesn't, you know, move freely with a little bit of force, I would dab it with a little WD-40 just to make sure. You know, let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Make sure it's nice and good. You don't want to strip out your screws and, you know, go spend money on replacements. Alright, so I would take on the trigger guard mag well assembly, there's two screws that hold it together. Here, there's a little one right here. I start with the big one first. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. Alright. Now, place them in a secure spot. For me, it's fine right here. But you don't want them, you know, running off and, you know, you lose them. Alright, now with this small screw, like mine, it's kind of stuck, so be very careful. And I already stripped this one out a little bit, but, you know, I'm not too worried about it. Not worried at all. Alright, let's see. Go ahead. There we go. Place that right there, out of the way. Nice and safe. Bam. Pops right out. One of the most simple triggers I've ever seen. I mean, it's as simple as you can go. You know, so place over there, you know, out of the way. Alright, now you don't need to worry about this screw right here. This screw screws into the rear sight guard. And you know, this is a guard just to protect it from banging around and you mess up your sight. So you don't need to fondle that. You don't need to touch this screw either. You don't need to worry about it. Alright. The next one is right here. This screws into a bushing that slides on the barrel. So that should be the next one you take out. So go ahead. And now it's not going to come all the way out. Mine doesn't, but I have a magnetic tip so on the screwdriver, so it should be. Alright, you don't want to work today? Alright, well, whatever. You turn it upside down, tap it, it'll come out. I'm not worried about it because it's just going to sit there since it doesn't want to cooperate. Alright, now there's a screw here because one of your sling tabs, I'm going to call it, just because I feel like it. Alright, so this band is a clamp. Clamps from the top, comes down, secures the top shin, as I'm going to call it, and the bottom stock, fourth stock, together. So that's one of the things you got to take it apart to get to the barrel. And this one can be a little tricky. Mine is, but we're going to go ahead and take that off as well. Now see, mine, I refinished this gun somewhat. I just stripped the cheap paint off the metal because it started coming off when I used this bore cleaner. Can't remember the name, but it was just foam stuff. You know, it wasn't like a harsh chemical. It just was fine. It's for, I guess, bore cleaning. And well, started taking the metal off the seat. I don't know if you can see it. It's nice and shiny. This is the original finish they had on here. But the other stuff they use is, I don't know if you can see the difference. Let's see. Alright, it's kind of like a matte finish. It's a matte, you know, it's cheap paint that they used. You know, and it really sucks. You know, so this was, I mean, black as you can get. It's like they soaked this in tar for 1,000 years. So I restained it or stripped it, used a whole can of stripper, let it bake out in the sun for an hour. So not bad. I also used the paint stripper to take off that crappy ass paint they had up on there. Yeah. So nice, not bad. Alright, so next there's 2 screws that hold the muzzle guard and the bayonet lug. It goes through the stock into the barrel. That secures that. Alright. And if you take it apart I think it's a, well, if you have an Enfield, this is basically the same thing. It's the same setup, just different caliber, different country, but it used parts. It used, yeah, basically parts. I mean, this stock, all pieces of this stock is not the same wood, same color, what have you. This was just pieced together from that country what they had for spares. I mean, that's what they did. And a lot of people will say, oh, it's a conversion. Well, in the beginning, it was. They converted it from a 303 to a 308 or, 762 NATO. But when a lot of these were produced in the 60s, they weren't converted. They're made specifically for that caliber. And I think I do have a caliber to show you guys. And oh, here it is. I do have a round for you guys. Yeah. Alright. Look at that. 7.62 NATO. Beautiful cartridge. Love it. Alright. So, it was made for that caliber. From what a lot of people told me, I looked it up. It's not recommended to shoot a 308. Yeah, it's the same diameter, same cartridge, but it's a hotter charge. So, stick with the 7.62. You don't want any problems. I don't think there's going to be a drastic, problem, but just to be on the safe side. So, alright. So, let's go ahead and remove muzzle guard. Alright. So, these 2 screws are going to be different lengths. So, what I would do, it doesn't matter which one you take off first. It doesn't matter. Alright. Set that screw aside. And you set this one aside. Slide this off. Now, what you can do, what I would do, place those 3 together. Alright, just keep the 2 screws and the guard in one place. So, you should be fine. And now, since this is all nice and loosey-goosey, what we're going to do is we're going to lift from the back. Well, that's what I do. And it'll just come right out. So watch out for that screw. If yours was stuck in there, you could just, pop it out from the bottom. Or if not, you just leave it in there. I mean, it's going to be in there. So, here's that bushing I was talking to you about. It slides around. It's not mounted. Alright. So, now, here's a nice complete, well, somewhat complete takedown. I'm not going to take, this shit off just because I have a split right here and I don't want to have to mess with that. I'm not going to take the rear side off. I'm not going to do any of that. You don't really need to mess with it unless you want to. Do what you want. It's your gun. I'm not going to take off the buttstock because it's just, if you have a shotgun, it's the same thing. There's a long screw in here that screws. I think it starts from right here, comes right here. So there's like a little trap door on the butt plate. All right, you lift it up. I think it's a flathead. You're going to need a long flathead, and there's going to be 0 to 2 buffers, leather buffers. It looks just like a fat washer. take them out. I used a little pick I had. So if you don't want to mess with it, you know, don't mess with it. There's no need to unless you want to. So just set those aside. I haven't put mine back in there just because I have no need to.